Once upon a time, in a cosy cottage nestled deep in the woods, lived a loving mother goat and her 7 adorable little goats. This charming abode was their haven, a place where love, laughter and the sweet scent of pine needles intermingled. Each day was a delightful adventure, filled with playful frolics, butterfly chases and endless games of hide and seek among the towering trees. The mother goat, with her gentle eyes and soft voice, was the heart of this joyous life. Her love for her little ones knew no bounds, as she kept a watchful eye over them during their escapades, ensuring they were safe from the lurking dangers of the forest. One such danger was a cunning wolf, whose sly eyes often watched the cottage from a distance. As the mother goat prepared to venture into the forest, she shared a word of caution with her little ones, who, in turn, confidently reassured her, "Don't worry, we will be careful." As soon as the mother goat was out of sight, the sly wolf, who had been watching from a distance, saw his chance. He had been lurking in the shadows, observing with keen eyes and listening with sharp ears. Now, with the mother goat away, it was his golden opportunity to strike. He padded softly toward the cozy cottage, his eyes gleaming with a cunning light. In his mind, the wolf was already savoring his victory. But little did he know, the 7 little goats were not as naive as he'd assumed. They had listened well to their mother's warnings and were prepared to guard their home against the cunning wolf. Upon reaching the cottage, the wolf rapped his knuckles against the door, creating a sound that echoed through the quiet woods. In a gruff voice, he called out, "Open the door, my little goats! Your mother has returned with delicious food for you." His voice, rough and harsh, was a stark contrast to the soft, melodious voice of their mother. Inside the cottage, the little goats huddled together, their ears pricked up at the sound of the unfamiliar voice. They remembered their mother's words, "The wolf has a harsh, gruff voice, unlike my soft and melodious one." The difference was clear, and they immediately knew who was at their door. With courage surging in their little hearts, they responded in unison, "You are not our mother. Her voice is sweet and gentle, and yours is rough and scary. You're the wolf." Their voices rang out, filled with determination and defiance, echoing their mother's cautionary words. The wolf, taken aback by their bold reply, retreated, his plan foiled. But the wolf was not one to give up easily. He was cunning and determined. And so, as the little goats celebrated their small victory inside the cottage, the wolf began to plot his next move. The game was far from over, but for now the score was little goats 1, wolf 0. "You are not our mother. Her voice is sweet and gentle, and yours is rough and scary. You're the wolf." The echoes of their brave declaration lingered in the air, a testament to their courage and wit. And so the first round of this cunning game ended with the little goats emerging victorious. Angry at being outsmarted, the wolf went to a nearby shop and swallowed some chalk, softening his voice. Yes, you heard it right. The cunning wolf wasn't about to give up that easily. He had a new plan up his sleeve. He went straight to the shop and gulped down a piece of chalk. The chalk worked its magic, and lo and behold, the once gruff voice of the wolf had transformed into a sweet, gentle tone, almost like the mother goat's. Feeling confident, the wolf trotted back to the cozy little cottage, a smirk playing on his face. He knocked on the door once again, and this time his voice was as soft as a lullaby. "My dear little goats, it's your mother. I have brought you treats from the forest." His voice echoed through the woods, sounding eerily similar to the mother goat's sweet tone. The little goats, hearing the soft voice, were almost deceived. They huddled together, their tiny hearts beating fast. They were about to unlatch the door when the youngest one, the smallest and perhaps the wisest among them, piped up. "Wait," he suggested, his eyes wide and cautious. "Let's check the color of the feet under the door first." One by one they tiptoed towards the door, their eyes darting to the small gap underneath. The wolf, unaware of their suspicion, waited patiently. As the goats peeked underneath, they saw a pair of black feet. The feet of the wolf! Their hearts sank, but they were also relieved. They had been clever enough to spot the wolf's trick once again. Gathering their courage, they called out through the door, their voices echoing with unity and determination. "You can't fool us, wolf! Our mother's feet are white. and with that they refused to open the door, leaving the wolf outside, once again defeated by their wit and alertness. Frustrated, the wolf went to a bakery and coated his feet with flour, making them appear white. Now he had both the soft voice of a caring mother and the white feet to match. With his newfound confidence, he sauntered back to the cottage, ready to execute his masterful deceit. With a gentle knock, he once again called out, "My dear little goats, it's your mother. I have brought you treats from the forest." His voice, now as soft as a lullaby, was almost convincing. But the little goats were no longer relying on just the sound of a voice. They demanded proof. "Show us your feet!" The wolf, eager to showcase his freshly whitened paws, slid them under the door. The little goats, peeking underneath, saw what seemed to be their mother's white feet. This time they were convinced. Their hearts filled with joy at the thought of their mother's return, and they hurriedly unlatched the door. But, oh, the shock that awaited them! The door swung open to reveal not their loving mother, but the cunning wolf, his grin wide and wicked. The cottage, once filled with laughter and joy, was now filled with gasps of horror and the frantic scurrying of little feet. The little goats dashed in all directions, their hearts pounding as they sought refuge. They found hiding spots wherever they could, under the desk, in the chimney, behind the curtains, even inside the giant clock. Each little goat held their breath, praying that the wolf wouldn't find them. But one by one, their hiding spots were discovered, their hopes dashed by the gleam in the wolf's eye. All, that is, except for the smallest goat, who remained hidden inside the clock, trembling with fear. Finally, having gobbled up 6 of the 7 little goats, the wolf, his belly full and his mission accomplished, settled down for a nap under a tree in the yard, unaware of the smallest goat's escape and the imminent return of the mother goat. And so, as the wolf slumbered, the cottage fell into an eerie silence, broken only by the ticking of the giant clock and the soft whimpering of the smallest goat. To their horror, it was the wolf. Upon arriving home and seeing the open door, the mother goat feared the worst. Her heart pounded as she stepped into the house, the once cosy cottage now a scene of chaos. Toys were strewn about, chairs were overturned, and the delicious meal she had prepared was untouched. The silence was deafening, the playful laughter and chatters that usually filled the home were missing. A wave of despair washed over her. She called out their names, her voice echoing through the empty cottage. "Little goats, where are you?" She searched high and low, her heart sinking with each passing moment. Then, from the corner of the room, she heard a tiny whimper. "I'm here, Mummy, inside the clock," said the smallest goat, peeping out from the clock's door. A sigh of relief escaped the mother goat's lips as she rushed over and embraced her little one. Tears welled up in her eyes as the smallest goat recounted the horrifying events of the day. The mother goat's heart ached as she listened, but she knew they had to act fast. There was still hope. With a determined glint in her eyes, the mother goat instructed her little one to fetch a needle, thread, and scissors. While waiting for her return, she ventured outside and gathered several large stones. The plan was set in motion. The sly wolf, unaware of the ongoing rescue mission, was still resting under a tree in the yard. The mother goat approached him quietly, her heart pounding in her chest. She had to be careful. She had to be silent. With the skills of a seasoned surgeon, the mother goat made a small incision in the wolf's belly. One by one, she gently pulled out her little goats, their faces lit up with joy at the sight of their mother, their savior. She hushed their cheers and quickly replaced them with the heavy stones she had gathered. The wolf, deep in his slumber, stirred but did not wake. The mother goat held her breath, her hands trembling as she sewed him back up. Her little goats watched in awe, their eyes wide with admiration for their brave and clever mother. The rescue mission was a success. When the wolf awoke, feeling heavy and thirsty, he staggered to a nearby river. But as he leaned over to drink, the weight of the stones caused him to lose balance and fall into the river. Despite his cries for help, he sank under the weight. The mother goat and her little goats, now safe and reunited, watched from a distance. Overwhelmed with joy, they danced hand in hand by the riverbank. The mother goat looked at her little ones, their faces beaming with pride. She knew they had learned an invaluable lesson that day. No matter how cunning the foe, bravery and intelligence could always prevail. And with that, they settled down for the night. The cozy cottage, once again a sanctuary, a place filled with love and warmth. From that day on, they lived a peaceful and happy life in their cottage in the forest, forever grateful for their mother's wisdom and their own bravery.